Have you ever wondered why doing all the right spiritual things still leaves you feeling stuck or powerless? We've discovered that not everything labeled positive actually empowers your soul. Some popular teachings, like unconditional forgiveness, love and light, only mindsets, the threefold law of karma, savior worship, or heart-centered meditation may sound uplifting, but they are secretly weakening you spiritually. Today, let's pull back the curtain on these well-meaning deceptions. This isn't about cynicism. It's about truth and reclaiming your full spiritual strength. Some traditions want you to be free and powerful, not a blissful pawn. Let's show how certain feel-good practices are used as subtle chains and how you can break free from them. Let's start with forgiveness. Society and modern religions praise unconditional forgiveness as a virtue. They say, forgive everything, hold no grudges. But what if constant, automatic forgiveness is actually a spiritual trap? The problem with the idea of forgiveness is that it asks you to forgive even when nothing has been resolved. It becomes a pardon for any harm or injustice, and this can enable more harm. One teacher explains that certain belief systems essentially forgive nothing by forgiving everything. In those systems, murderers, child molesters, insane killers are all excused in the eyes of the higher power. Forgiveness has no meaning in itself as it corrects nothing. In other words, forgiving everyone for everything doesn't fix wrongdoing. It actually protects wrongdoing and lets it continue. This forgive and forget mentality might seem noble, but it can leave your soul burdened with unresolved pain and injustice. When you forgive too easily, you may never heal properly or learn to stand up for yourself. The damage to your aura, the energy field of your soul, remains uncorrected, festering under a smile of false peace. True forgiveness isn't about accepting endless abuse. It's something earned when genuine amends or growth have occurred. Otherwise, constantly turning the other cheek just invites more slaps. Blindly forgiving everything can weaken your soul's natural defense mechanisms. It dampens the fiery energy of the lower chakras, like the one that governs personal power and the one that grounds and protects you. Over time, this forgive program can make your aura vulnerable, your boundaries thin, and your spirit easy to exploit. Forgiveness, when misused, becomes a tool of control rather than of healing. Another so-called virtue that can secretly drain you is the love and light only mindset. The idea that you must remain positive at all times, focusing only on love, compassion, and the higher ideals while hating anything negative. Of course, love and compassion are beautiful qualities, but when taken to an extreme, this mindset encourages denial and passivity. Evil doesn't vanish just because we refuse to look at it. A culture of forced compassion sometimes breeds the opposite of its promises. Preaching love constantly often just creates weakness. Some negative influences hope their victims will be too compassionate or nice to resist when they strike. In a society that is completely paralyzed and devoid of clear judgment by excessive compassion, criminals and abusers have free rein. Think about that. If you're conditioned to be nice and forgiving no matter what those who wish to harm or use you, know you won't fight back. An overly heart-centered approach, where you only operate from the realm of empathy while neglecting the realms of strength and reason, leaves you spiritually disarmed. Balanced teachings promote compassion, but not at the expense of truth and justice. Your soul includes all chakras and energies for a reason: love and righteous anger, compassion and discernment. Focusing solely on light while refusing to acknowledge darkness can scatter your energy. It's like only exercising one muscle and letting the others atrophy. your spiritual body becomes lopsided and weak. Some wisdom traditions encourage us to face negativity head-on with courage and wisdom, not to suppress it under forced smiles. When society is too meek, genuine compassion can never manifest real good. Being kind should never mean being weak. True love sometimes means saying no to abuse. True light sometimes requires shining into the dark corners rather than pretending they aren't there. Closely related to the above is the famous threefold law, the notion that whatever energy you put out, especially harm, comes back to you 3 times over. It's often used to ensure people stay good and never curse or hurt others. In reality, this doctrine can be deeply disempowering. Certain guides reveal that the threefold law is a relatively modern human invention with no basis in original ancient spiritual laws. Why would someone invent a rule that punishes you 3 times for defending yourself? Equals to scare spiritual people away from using their power. According to some, the sole purpose of concepts like the threefold law is to keep people from using their inborn power and to promote a passive attitude that is accepting of abuse. It's just like certain religious teachings that tell followers to turn the other cheek and never resist evil. If you believe any protective spell or curse against an attacker will smack you back triple, you'll likely never fight back at all. You'll just sit and accept abuse, thinking this makes you righteous. While the truly malicious have no such qualms, they continue to harm freely. The threefold law becomes a fear spell on good people, locking away their will to act. It teaches guilt and fear rather than wisdom. More authentic teachings urge us to see this as a distortion. Yes, actions have consequences, but the universe isn't an automatic vending machine of triple karma for every defensive action. In practice, the universe is far more just. Sometimes a strong, even aggressive response to evil is not only acceptable but necessary. Don't let a fake law frighten you out of protecting yourself or others. Your soul's strength includes the capacity to administer justice when needed. If you constantly repress that out of fear, your will shrinks. Fear energy can cloud your aura, creating weakness that real darkness can sense. True spirituality teaches responsible use of power, not knee-jerk pacifism. An empowered soul knows when to heal and when to fiercely defend what is right. Then there's the savior-based belief so common in mainstream faiths. The idea that a great messianic figure or external deity will descend to rescue you and humanity, so you need not to take matters into your own hands. This notion is comforting. Who wouldn't want a powerful savior to do the hard work for us? But it undermines your spiritual growth. If you're always waiting to be saved, you'll never fully use your own divine potential. Nobody is coming to do your inner work for you. Temple of Zeus teachings show that we are our own saviors, that we must save ourselves and thus heal the world. Those words may sound shocking if you've been raised to think salvation comes only from above. But think deeply. If an individual never takes responsibility for their soul, never strives to learn, improve, and stand up, can any external savior truly help? In more balanced teachings, the gods or higher beings will certainly guide and empower us, but we must walk the path. The enemy's trick has been to make people passive, always looking upward with hands outstretched for deliverance that never actually arrives. Meanwhile, lifetimes pass and the soul stays weak, undeveloped, and dependent. Savior beliefs can particularly weaken the core of identity and will, as well as higher intuitive centers, by placing all authority outside yourself. You might even suppress your intuition or rational mind if it conflicts with blind faith in a savior figure. The truth is that the real savior energy is already inside you, in your own divine spark and the help of higher forces that you must actively invoke. When you internalize this, You stop giving away your power. You cease waiting and start creating your fate alongside the divine. Those who cling to waiting for a savior often end up spiritually stagnant. This is a victim mentality that leads only to disappointment. Taking charge of your soul, by contrast, ignites your inner fire. It awakens the serpent within, the ultimate spiritual force which rises through all chakras when you commit to your own salvation. In short, believing someone will save me weakens you. Realizing I must save myself with higher guidance empowers you. Reclaim that personal agency and stop outsourcing destiny. One of the subtler traps is seen in practices that focus on only one aspect of spirituality to the exclusion of a balanced approach. This could be something like meditating only on the heart chakra or crown chakra while ignoring the rest of the soul's structure, or clinging to higher vibes and neglecting the foundations. Many modern teachings encourage people to open their crown chakra to connect with the divine, or to live entirely in the heart. But doing so without grounding and strengthening all chakras is dangerous, inevitable. The human soul is a complex multi-chakra system. Each center, from the root, survival, grounding, up to the crown, spiritual insight, must be developed in harmony. If you pour all your energy into one or two chakras, you create imbalance. One source reminds us of an ancient piece of wisdom: nothing in excess. An overemphasis on any one facet leads to disharmony. In terms, too much focus on one chakra or one virtue at the expense of others will damage your soul's balance. Consider someone who only does heart-centered meditation, cultivating love and empathy, but never strengthens their root chakra, security, or the one that governs willpower. They may become very compassionate, yes, but also overly sensitive, constantly hurt or drained by the world because they lack grounding or personal power. Their aura might glow with love, but have gaping holes in protection and confidence. Conversely, someone might chase only crown chakra enlightenment, transcendent experiences, visions, bliss, but ignore their lower chakras. This often leads to being ungrounded, spacey, and unable to manifest anything in real life. They might connect to some astral light, but can't pay their bills or handle basic human conflicts. Some have observed that dark forces actually exploit this tendency. Certain hostile entities encourage unbalanced spiritual practices to keep people weak. If you've ever heard of someone opening their third eye or crown prematurely and then suffering nightmares or delusions, you see the effect of this imbalance. Temple of Zeus teaches complete soul development. Every chakra matters. We meditate on the lower chakras to build a stable base, a reservoir of vitality, sexuality, willpower, and on the upper ones for intuition and connection. We work with love and truth, compassion and strength. When all parts of the aura function in unison, your soul becomes like a fortress of light, radiant but also resilient. Corrupted teachings tell you to ignore lower aspects, like bodily needs, anger, or worldly responsibilities, in pursuit of a narrow slice of higher spirituality to ultimately weaken you. They sever you from half of your power. Don't fall for it. Spiritual wholeness is your goal, not spiritual lobotomy. Each of these seemingly positive practices, unconditional forgiveness, all-loving pacifism, fearing karmic retaliation for every act, waiting for a savior, or clinging to one chakra or virtue, distorts the natural harmony of the soul. They encourage either excessive passivity or dangerous imbalance. The result is the same: a person who cannot fully stand in their own power. The tragedy is that these teachings are often promoted by the very forces that claim to advance spirituality. It's the wolf in sheep's clothing scenario, a poison pill sugar-coated in piety. But you don't have to swallow it. Knowledge is liberation. High Priest Hooded Cobra and High Priestess Maxine Dietrich have exposed these deceptions so that you can reclaim your strength. When you clear away these traps, you'll find your soul energy flowing freely. Your chakras will align and cooperate instead of being closed. Your aura will mend its weak spots and shine with true confidence. No longer will false guilt or optimism sabotage your growth. Instead, you'll practice empowered forgiveness, forgiving when it heals, not when it harms. Balanced compassion, kindness with wisdom. Just action, using your power responsibly without fear. Self-leadership, knowing higher forces help those who help themselves. And full-spectrum meditation, honoring every part of your being. This holistic approach is the way of authentic spiritual growth. Some places are dedicated to guiding people back to this path of strength. They speak plainly about these issues, not to scorn love or virtue, but to rescue them from distortion. Real love is powerful, not impotent. Real virtue includes courage and truth, not just submissiveness. The divine wants you to grow into a mighty soul, not a docile lamb. Sometimes that means unlearning the ideas you thought were good for you. It can be uncomfortable, even shocking, to question forgiveness or compassion. But remember, the negative side often twists the good into a weapon against you. In recognizing this, you're not turning to the dark side. You're actually stepping out of the shadow cast over the light. You're reclaiming the full spectrum of spiritual light, which includes the reds and blues of the lower chakras, as much as the violets of the crown. So ask yourself, are these positive practices truly helping me or holding me back? Be brutally honest. Feel the answer in your gut, where your personal power resides. If you sense weakness or fear underneath the pretty packaging, it's time to let it go. Replace blind forgiveness with wise justice. Replace passive love and light with active love and truth. Replace dogma with fearless understanding. Stand up and declare that you will embrace balance over extremes, empowerment over appeasement. This is the path that helps humanity break unseen chains. By exposing what weakens you, you recognize your own strength. Your spirit is meant to soar with all its wings, not to flutter on one wing in circles. The positive programs that made you spiritually sick can be cast off now. Take back your power. Higher guidance is with you in this journey, but you must make the choice to step out of the false light and into the real light of spiritual freedom. And once you do, nothing can stop you from growing, because you'll no longer be undermining yourself from within. This is how you truly heal and rise. This is how you become spiritually strong.